Good day, everybody. Hopefully, everyone's doing fine. I hope everyone's doing fine. We are going to be kicking off something here today that's a little bit, I don't know, outside of the norm, but um, this was too
Not really.
interesting not to tackle. Um, when you hear it,
Yes, sir.
you're gonna hear this person, individual that we're going to be talking about. You may have heard him before talk about Johnson and Johnson and a couple other things that seem to make him seem like he's a really wise one.
Mm-hmm.
However, they always show what they really believe when it comes to certain things. Just give them the right topic, and you go see them pop out of the woodwork. So we'll be back to show you said video. Just hang around. We'll be right back. Welcome to the big show, everybody.
This is gonna be great.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
if I get a little too animated, just give me like a thumb or
I'll
down.
mute you.
Calm down,
I'll
bro.
just mute you.
Yeah, just mute me because I'm gonna get animated on this one with these charlatans. Can't
I'm
stand.
gonna shut you up if I have to.
Yeah, do it. Just shut me. Do it. I ain't gonna take offense.
You want to bring it up? I think we just go straight into it.
We're gonna go right into it. All right, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's do this.
Hello, jet setter, trend setter, jet setter,
jet setter. All right. Is there a max screen on here?
Only the double arrow thing.
Oh, okay, I see it.
I want to get into this with you a little bit. Obama.
No.
Oh, yes. Do you or do you not take the stance he didn't do nothing for black people?
Interestingly enough, not enough black people have researched what he actually has or has not done. The thing is, he didn't do the thing that he should have done, which is what everybody's mad about, which is reparations. No black man would become president of the United States of America and do the very thing that helped America maintain her superiority over the very people that she enslaved. I'm not going to give you the thing that validates the evil that I did to you, put you in a position to do it, and then make myself look bad. It's not happening. I'm not going to give you reparations, and I'm for damn sure I'm not going to let a black man do it. He would have been assassinated.
Come on, man.
To be very clear.
Pause.
As to how this works. 1, he was selected before he was elected. 2, he's
Okay.
There's a lot there that
Yes.
just didn't make sense.
It's a lot to take in.
Okay. I'll let you guys go first.
All right.
We'll go down the line. We'll go to Mike. We'll go to Lee, and then we'll go to
Yeah.
Coy.
All right. So, the fact that the one thing that I do agree with that, Barack Obama was selected, not elected. I can agree with them on that. But, all his racial talk about how the black man ain't going to really make. Did we even get into that part yet?
Yeah, he kind of touched it. He's about to.
He alluded to it a little bit.
Yeah, alluding to the fact that as a black president, he's not really making any decisions. We already know charlatans like this are going to talk because they're never satisfied. They won't be satisfied until they get Malcolm Farrakhan in office. And then when Malcolm Farrakhan's in office, they'll be happy. I don't know. We got to watch the rest because it's mind-blowing.
Lee?
Yeah.
I mean, right off the bat, like he's talking about how Obama was the guy to bring through reparations, but we didn't really come into the reparations conversation until the last 3.5, 4 years, even during Trump. So it wasn't Obama that was going to do it. He was more or less not America's first black president. I think Rizza is skipping over the fact that he was America's first gay president.
Oops! Don't say that.
That's just fact.
I'm sorry. Are we on YouTube?
I know. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
we're still on
joking. I'm
YouTube.
being, yeah. Well, it is facts.
Coy.
It still surprises me that anybody looks at Obama and thinks he's the savior of black people, which he did literally nothing for the black community the entire time he was in office. He basically skirted on the fact that he was the first panda president. I'll just put it that way. He was the first panda president in office. And pretended to be black when it benefited him and pretended to be white when it didn't, right? So that's the way I view Obama is he's a political creature that was created solely for the fact that he could be used. That is it. He came from nowhere out of nothing to become a prominent political figure from being a community organizer.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's his claim to fame before he became, what was it? Was he in the Senate or was he?
Yeah,
in
he was
Congress?
a senator.
Yeah, he was a senator. So like he went from community activism senator to the presidency out of nothing in a less than like what 10 years.
Yeah, no one's heard of that guy.
And nobody heard of this guy ever before that point. But apparently he was just so prominent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's believe that.
So
Let's go with that.
My viewpoint so far is that it tells me a lot about Rizza, is that he does not honestly believe at all that Black people are capable of doing anything more than what he believes they can do. And the mere fact that you believe that white people are the ones to give it to you, that's crazy to me. Look, if you have the opinion that white people were not going to give Black people what they wanted, which was reparations, like somehow reparations are going to make Black people elite. I'm not quite sure how that works out in his mind, that money equals elite status if you just give it to people randomly. If that was the case, those rich rappers would be elite, and they're not. They're not elite at all. So right off the top, he's making a massive assumption on two levels. One, reparations would have fixed everything. And two, white people were never going to be willing to give Black people reparations, especially having a Black president. So if you have a Black president, and he'll get into this in a minute, and when you hear it, it'll blow your mind. But even having and I've heard this statement before, but not how he phrases it. Even if you have a Black president, he's not really the president.
Yeah.
So you'll hear the rest. Go ahead.
All right.
Be prepared to pause, though.
In the same seat that Nixon was in, same seat that Reagan was in, same seat that JFK was in. You think the seat changes? No. Just because you put a Black face on white supremacy doesn't make it Black supremacy. No. The seat.
Just because you put a Black face on white supremacy does not make it Black supremacy. Why would white supremacy use a Black man in power? I'm just curious. Okay, hear me out.
Yep.
Hear me out. Even during the slavery days, the Black people didn't have any power over white people. They had power over Black people, but they had zero say or control over the white people. Not even Massa would allow his house Negro to talk to his lowly, mentally ill friend in a certain way. And he would have been top dog amongst the slaves. So why would white supremacy, true white supremacy, one, put themselves in a position to back a Black candidate, and not only that, but give him power over even the lowest common denominator of white people? That is not white supremacy. Even with white supremacy, you can't. There's no low totem white people when it comes to Black people. Every white person is above Black people. So there'd be no way white supremacists would put Obama in power if he was selected by the white supremacist system. It's so dumb.
Even in a white supremacist system, that's not true, because back then, I mean, the Irish, the Italians, and everybody else that weren't white, because they didn't consider Irish and Italians until much recently to be white, right? They weren't considered the same sort of white. So the English were enslaving the Irish for hundreds of years, and then they didn't consider them to be the same.
And
same
even then, they're lower than. But even then, Blacks are lower than them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there's no way they would select a Black person to be president.
Yep. The only reason that was because they didn't want them to get together.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, people hate talking about the fact that Obama is 50-50 split. This whole Obama's Black. He's not Black. Okay. He's half Black, half white. He's a mixed child. So the term, when they call him Black because of the term, the one drop rule. You remember, you've heard that term, the one drop rule. You know why the one drop rule was used?
Yeah.
It's because when white slave owners were having babies with Black or vice versa, mixing races, the white race didn't want anything to do with that mixed baby. So they created the one drop rule. You got any Negro in you, you're black. So he pretty much, what this dude is up here doing, he's pretty much saying, screw his white side. We're only going to talk about the black side. The dude's 50-50.
Yeah. Only the white side is the war criminal.
Yeah. Only. Yeah. We're not going to talk about the white, since we want to talk about white supremacy. We're not going to talk about half of him. You know, let's not talk about that. We're only going to talk about the black side, the 50% side. So he's half a human being in his eyes.
Yeah.
What I find to be also interesting is that Rizza Islam is using the rhetoric that is associated more with how liberal Americans are painting black conservatives. Like they called Larry Elder the blackface of white supremacy a few years back. Like, so what is Rizza talking about? Like, Obama's the blackface of white supremacy. What? He's literally lining up with the party.
So here's the thing you got to understand. These are black nationalists. When they say stuff like this, it's no different than white nationalists, right? They have the same exact ideology, just the skin tone is different. There's nothing different about them. They hate somebody based on immutable characteristics and what melanin content their skin has. That is it.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's more. Oh, it gets so much more worse. So much more.
Oh, indeed.
He doesn't change. This is the modern Rome, the modern Babylon. This is the modern Sodom and Gomorrah. He did not have the power to change this system. When a president is selected, when they go into the White House, there are already a preset number of things and items that are to be done underneath that president's regime. Certain things that they put down that they want to be done under this person. Under Obama, kill Muammar Gaddafi. Under Obama, initiating the gay marriage circumstance. For now, does he need to take responsibility for his part? Abso-freaking-lutely. But he also is up against the very same system that enslaved our people. So I want us to make it very clear. We have to put things in context when we're talking. He was not the Superman who became the black man who's going to do everything for black people in Congress. 535 members are going to let him do this. All of these racist white people are just going to let him do this.
No, I'm not. That's why I wish Roderick was here for this question. But maybe Coy or Bro can answer, or maybe even Jay Lee can answer this question. Is America under the same system as it was pre-slavery?
No.
Okay. Is America under the same system as it was the time of slavery?
No.
Is America the same country as it was the day of the emancipation of the slaves?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. So is this the same system that enslaved his ancestors?
No.
No, but it is the system that killed Kennedy, so.
Well, I hate it when he brings up the system and that's messed up. He talks about black people as, a monolith, as if as all these Afrocentric pro-blacks, Malcolm Farrakhan, Hoteps do, right? Yeah. They talk as if all black people are descendants of slaves. Every single one of us. We're us. What is that term, us? Not all of us are descendants from slaves. Some of us come from other countries. Had nothing to do with slavery, and vice versa. There's a lot of white people, same thing. So whenever they throw out these monoliths like that, true. us, they're trying to get us all together to make us all think that we're victims. And it's crazy how people actually follow and listen to these buffoons like this. Educated idiots.
Educated fools are now using and ruling the world. Go ahead. Let's hear more.
It's not going to happen. Even if he really wanted it to happen, it wasn't going to happen. And this is what I need people to get. He was called for to be assassinated. They put up pictures, photoshopped and edited pictures of Obama as a witch doctor with a bone in his nose, him as a monkey, Michelle as a monkey, his two children as a monkey. They called him and her monkeys congresspersons. I'm talking about sitting at the time congresspersons. They were so racist, so wicked. Brother, I'm talking about to this day, white folks right now all over Twitter are saying Michelle Obama is a man. Wait a minute. Let me make this very clear. To you black folks who run with that nonsense, the embarrassing side of this is you're allowing white people to utilize.
Keep going. No, I want him to finish this one statement. Go ahead.
Your emotions to benefit a white supremacist argument by saying, oh, she's a man, blah, 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 while at the same time not realizing that's exactly what they used to say to your ancestors, to your people all the time. They would attack black women just like they're doing now, but they're doing it by you helping them. I would never side with white people against.
This is where stupidity comes in when you allow yourself to become an emotional piece of trash.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope Rizza hears me say this. You are stupid. When I say stupid, I mean moronically, idiotically stupid. You claim to be such a great historian, and you don't realize that they didn't buck break females, they buck broke males.
Mm-hmm.
You're an idiot. A whole collection of fools is what you are. All in an effort to pander because you are beta male. You're a beta male. Women have control over you. Just admit that.
That's a fact.
You were probably raised by a single female who hated your daddy. And if you were raised, but both of them in the house, he still didn't wear the pants. You are living proof. You are living proof that you're a sissy. You are living proof that you would have been easy to buck break because you would have liked it. The women were not put down by massa. They weren't. I mean, they were abused, but they were not put down. The men were put down, just like you're doing by speaking that way. This is how dumb you are. In the traditional mode of slavery, men were the main vassals of labor. You didn't see them using multiple women or say a single woman to birth multiple kids. They did use a single male, though.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do that with women. They traded out women. They used a single male and milked him till he was dead. See, when in an effort to try and be smart, Rizza, you became an absolute clown, a complete and utter buffoon. There's nothing wise about you at all. I mean, you like to talk like your daddy Farrakhan, who's a blazing racist himself. You love to talk like him. So you wear your little red Minchell mask bow tie. You might as well have the white lipstick on. You might as well. And start dancing on stage with a cane, because that's what you look like right now. The entire system that you are talking about is one you created in your own mind. Because the mere fact that a white supremacist system, as you call it, would allow any Negro to thrive puts to death your argument. Completely puts it to death. Because you obviously don't know what white supremacy is.
That's right.
In true white supremacy, blacks would have no say. Especially if you say the entire system is based on it. You have no clue what you're talking about. I'm assuming that tie spurts water. Because you're a whole clown.
That's right.
Bro.
I mean, and he's talking to the lowest common denominator. You know, most people that listen to this guy aren't truly informed on anything, really, history or anything. They just listen to this guy. This guy regurgitates what history he thinks is right. He listens to people like Malcolm Farrakhan, whatever his name is, Farrakhan.
Louis Farrakhan. Yeah.
Louis Farrakhan calls him an honorable master, whatever the heck you call him.
And Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, and then you regurgitate what this guy teaches you to people who really can't think for themselves. You know, no one, if a black person is calling Michelle Obama a man, that's his interpretation. That's his opinion. Ain't no white person using him to freaking say that. But see, what they want you to do, people like him, these Malcolm Farrakhan dudes, they want us all to think, talk, act alike. That's what they want. All of us should act alike. We're not allowed to say anything about black people, whether it's right or wrong. If it's wrong, you don't say nothing. If you don't agree, you don't say nothing, because that's anti-black. That's a form of white supremacy. So you're just supposed to go along and get along. And that's the problem in the black community right now. People go along to get along. They don't snitch. They don't call out the wrongs in their neighborhoods, and they wonder why they living in slums right now.
That's why people.
What's interesting too? It's interesting too that he's on this particular interview with Ari Spears, who is a relatively prominent comedian, but he's also, you know, he leans toward that blacktivism type bent as well.
And he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
Yes, and Michelle is a man.
Okay, so I didn't mean to laugh while Marlon was going off on his thing because it sounded like an opportunity time, but I have a picture that I found. And I couldn't help it.
That is so.
Wait. I got another one. Okay, so There's an older photo of
Michael,
Yeah.
Michael and I.
Not this Michael, that one.
Yeah, so like I don't know, man. Like there's a lot of questions. Like a lot of questions.
They can question all they want. I still believe it's a dude. Okay, I don't care what
Yeah.
they can show me anything until they show me pregnant pictures. I don't want to hear nothing. That's a man.
And
Right?
I've been looking for them. I was trying to see if I could
There
find
ain't one.
any, and like I started googling it, and it was, you can find all of these older
none.
photos of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, right?
I bet you could
Like
find
from all over the decades, like all loving, all happy, and stuff like that, but zero pregnancy pictures.
pregnant. I bet you could find a pregnant picture of Eve before you find one of Michelle Obama.
I mean, look at any celebrity. You can
want me to
always
continue?
find a pregnant
Well, hold
photo
on.
of a celebrity anywhere.
Yeah.
How is it that Obama, one of the most famous presidents in modern history,
find one.
right, and his first lady have zero pregnancy pictures
That's
to
the
show?
question. You ready?
Oh, no. Yeah.
It's my people. We want what we need to have that will not come by us going through the system. But we think we can get it by going into his system. See, the real reality, brother, is we have wanted justice for so long, not realizing you don't go to your slave master to ask for freedom. You separate and establish it for yourself. This is why you have your own schools, your own banks, your own grocery stores, your own transportation systems, your own everything. If you don't get justice from this system, like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, if we cannot live in peace among you, among this system that is predominantly dominated by white people, then we must separate into our own. All these other people have their own thing, and they are not running around crying all day. Why? Because they have their own. They have their own everything. The problem is we don't want to focus more on unity and separation versus us focusing on some way to, like you said, take our hat off and go hat in hand to beg the white man for something else. When the reality is we have enough millionaires, we have enough athletes, we have enough actors, we have enough people in positions of authority, or at least with enough money to where we can come together and buy up acres of land, build our own schools. And we have our own schools. We need more of them, our own grocery stores, our own everything, to where we quite literally don't even need that system like that. We do have some black people in political positions. We got to put more.
I want people to understand carefully what the only way he's going to get what he wants right there is to be a separate country.
Yeah.
Okay. Now hear me out. There is completely zero, unequivocally zero way that you can be your own, independent of the system. Even the Amish isn't independent of the system.
Yeah.
Even the Amish are still part of the system.
Even the only people in the United States that are not technically a part of the system is the Native Americans and the tribes and the reservations. That's it. Right. But even then, it's like semi-autonomy, right? It's not even fully autonomous in its own right.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, what type of system is he looking for? You know, because there's a lot of things that go into, say they want their own community and they have their own land, they have their own whatever, their own country within a country. What would that system look like? Would it be Islam?
The reservation system?
Would it be socialist? Would it be capitalist? What would it be? Does every black person that doesn't buy into capitalism or doesn't buy into Islam, what would they be? You know, what would the studying be? What would the schools teach it? You know what I mean? There's so much, and based off this, the type of their logic, these types, we already know what it would be. We would fall under in a socialist utopia, getting taught Islam, being forced to wear whatever, praise whoever based off their standards.
Yeah, it would be Chicago and Dearborn, Michigan. That's what you would get.
Yeah, it'd be murder, drugs.
It would be a combination of those two. You would have extremist Islamic heterodoxy with the violence and corruption of Chicago. That's what you would get if people like him were running the place, because we already see it. We already see cities that are run exactly as their freaking utopias, that are completely run by the same people with the same skin color. Right.
Yep.
And that's by no means to sound racist. I'm just saying the data and the statistics and the people who are running that place have a certain skin color and they have a certain ideology that they share with this man. That's it.
Okay. So Donna, a quick question, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot for your age, but if you were like she was pregnant during the years of the 80s, if you were pregnant in the 80s, which I think is where she was pregnant, right? 80s, 90s, somewhere in there, right?
Yep.
The 80s, late 80s. Pictures would be there.
Yes.
If you had been pregnant like in the 60s, I can see why you couldn't have a picture. I could kind of see it. 50s, I could kind of see why you don't have a picture. Even then they did, but even then I could give you the excuse. But the 80s, come on, man.
I was
Come on.
born in the late 70s, and my mom has pictures of the baby bump with me and my brothers and my sisters. And
One. I'm not
Come
saying
on
that
now.
you, and plus, aside from that, when you look at what you need to look at, which is family relational look, it does not take a forensic expert to see that the children look nothing like the so-called parents. Okay,
That's true.
This is not even conspiracy. You can just use these two things here. Look at the picture, look at the parents, and you can see that they don't. What's that Sesame Street song? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. Sorry, but I trust these. Okay, I trust them.
I mean,
I'm glad.
Here's a question. So, like, how many of you people in your family know of somebody that was doing something naughty behind somebody's back and they got pregnant and the kid popped out? You looked at him and they go, "That ain't his," right? And nobody knew it. And they're like, "Okay, we just accept it. We're just going to move on. We know it's not his, but we're going to move on." And then the DNA test comes out and you're like, "Oh, look, surprise, it's not his. Whoopsie."
And
how many
you know
stories
that
have we heard of that? Come on.
And the messed up thing is that since Marlon brought it up, that couple that is supposedly the parents, they went everywhere with the Obamas.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Vacation here, there. Like, if you're going to claim these kids are yours, don't take your best friends that are the real parents with you, because people are going to start putting two and two together. They're like, wait a minute.
I mean, if you're going to
that oldest look
kids,
just like that dude, and how come the youngest look just like that woman?
Yeah,
they look nothing like the Mike and Barack, or Mike and Barry. They don't look nothing like them. Yeah. So, like Marlon said, use your own eyes. Use these right here, God given, and look at them, and look at Barack Obama and Michael Obama's or Michelle Obama's best friends.
I mean, if
and
you
tell me who the parents are. You make that. You figure it out.
Like I said, if you're gonna rent kids, you probably shouldn't bring the parents with you. I mean, if you're gonna pretend they're yours, then you got to pretend. Come on,
surrogacy,
like 101, dude. But no, that's probably part of the deal. It's like, yeah, we'll take you on our trips. We'll do all the first class stuff. We'll get them good education. You know, they'll be Obamas forever, and so there'll be a legacy. You know, it's a good deal for you guys. We just need to pretend that they're ours. That's it.
And they at first, when they were young, yeah, you were like, okay, you know, and in the beginning you were like, yeah, maybe. Then as they got older, their faces started filling out, and they started, wait a minute.
But it's one of the people think that's crazy, but that's not even the craziest thing that we've had in the last 2 years or 3 years, even that, right? Like, us saying that maybe those aren't his kids isn't the craziest thing in the world, right? You thought Epstein Island was a freaking crazy conspiracy theory story, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't.
And lo and behold,
you didn't think a pandemic was going to shut down in the entire country, did you, about 3 years ago, right? Or that was going to be some crazy conspiracy theory, or the lab leak, or any
plot
of the things.
Twist.
Like there's tons of things that have become true. Oh, Area 51, that used to not be a thing.
Let's finish this dude out.
Or pressure on them. So at a certain point, it's like we can't keep pointing at this one person or point at the same system that does what it does. I'm not going to get pissed off at a snake for biting me. It's a snake. Obama was in a den, a house of snakes, and you expected him to be able to handle all that by himself. When the reality is, yes, we were disappointed. We were shouting, yes, we can in 2008. I voted for him.
I voted for him twice, and you echoed it. He has done things for black people.
My uncle was one of those who were pardoned by Obama. My uncle had 2 life sentences.
Pause.
Obama.
Go back a little bit. Go back a little bit.
I know what you're going to say.
Go back.
Okay.
Who's his uncle?
No. I want to see the picture.
He has done things for black people.
My uncle was one of those.
Right there. Listen to me. This is how, and I remember I told you at the beginning, this dude was a clown. This is how I know he's a moron. And he's such a soft, weak-minded, childlike-minded person. Listen to this. He did a lot, or he did stuff for black people. What does that first line say?
in his final act.
Final act.
The final
8 years. And on his way out the door, he throws you a chicken bone, and you sit there with your red bow tie like a fool, talking about he did something for black people. You're only missing the symbols.
Yep.
The picture that they talked about, Michelle and Barack as monkey, that's you, bro. That is you. This is how easy it is to convince clowns that you have their good intention at heart.
That's right.
Oh, I'm leaving. You know what? Drug sentences commuted, 330 of them. I will release the worst of the worst and back into society, and that will make all black people that think like me love me even more.
And didn't some of these guys he commute wind up back in jail or murder a couple people?
Right back. Right back.
So we should mention the fact that this dude had been charged for medical fraud, by the way, and they finally just
his uncle
the charge. No, him personally for fraud.
Oh, Rizza.
Rizza, of course. I mean, most of them hoteps are criminals anyway. You know, most of them Afrocentric, pro-black, Malcolm Farrakhan, fight the power people. I was going to say something else.
It was for the Church of Scientology.
Are criminals.
So
Jesse Jackson's a criminal. Al Sharpton's a criminal. Elijah Muhammad's a criminal. I mean, they're all criminals. It's expected.
Go ahead.
The fraud charges were in 2015. Him and his siblings and his mother were all arrested on medical and insurance fraud charges at the Scientology Rehabilitation Center in Compton.
Scientology.
Yep. And it was the jury selection was in March of this year, but was postponed, and then it was finally just dropped, dismissed in June. So just recently was dropped after all this time.
All right. Ready?
Those who were pardoned by Obama. My uncle had 2 life sentences. Obama released him along with a laundry list of other people. But you want things to be perfect when it's a black man. But when it's a white man, it's okay. Things are broken. Oh, we're making excuses. Whatever. Let's move on. The problem is you want perfection. He was not going to
back it up.
Yeah, back it up.
Black man. But when it's a white man, it's okay. Things are broken.
Things for black people.
My uncle was one of those who were pardoned by Obama. My uncle had 2 life sentences.
Right there.
Obama.
You proud of that? Hold on.
Jeez, dude.
Look, this is I know I'm gonna get plenty of hate from black people on this one, but this is our problem. This idiot is celebrating his uncle being released after being given 2 life sentences. Let me say that again. 2 life sentences. You are proud that Barack Obama commuted 2 life sentences because he was your uncle? Why don't you tell us what he did to get those 2 life sentences? And then we get all happy that this happened. Oh, he commuted. You didn't. Of all the things he could have done, he could have easily. This is what he could have done in his final act. And I think this would have done a way better job at helping Black America. Everything that I gave to an overseas entity, I am going to now bring and hand, even if it sounded, like I said, I wouldn't vote for doing it, but this would be a much better handout than releasing criminals back into the Black community. I will give whatever money I sent to Iraq, to Iran, to any foreign state, I will give it to the Black community. As my final act, done. I would much rather see him do that. I know he couldn't just do it by the stroke of a pen. So nobody tell me that that's not how that works. I know that's not how it works. I'm trying to tell you that would have been a much better gesture than handing to the Black community Barabbas. The killer, the drug dealer, the drug user, the pusher. You are more than willing to be happy that he put drugs back on the street. These are the same people that'll complain that the FBI put drugs on the street back in the 80s, the crack epidemic, right? But you just had a man that, because he was Black, you just had a man release all the ones that will continue to do that to your kids back into your community to the tune of 330 of them. And good job. All right. Okay.
I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, you look out throughout history over the last few years. I mean, they promote guys like George Floyd, criminal. They promote that guy on the subway who was known for harassing people and terrorizing
Jordan
people.
Neely.
Yeah, Jordan Neely. So it's a common denominator within the black community. You know, release a little quick. You know, he might have murdered somebody, but he needs to be free. You know, they want to release murderers and killers and all these dangerous people, and they will fight tooth and nail to get these criminals out of jail, but won't fight tooth and nail to keep their butts out of jail. And that's the problem. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Okay, you continue. I just saw it and I had to.
Released him along with a laundry list of other people. But you want things to be perfect when it's a black man. But when it's a white man, it's okay if things are broken. Oh, we're making excuses, whatever, let's move on. The problem is you want perfection. He was not going to be able to do anything perfect at all. He was barely able to do anything to begin with. Was it a partial psychological game that the enemy was playing? Absolutely. Goldman Sachs helped to sponsor and fund his campaign. He had a lot of people behind him on both sides because, like you said, it was a white and the black vote that got him in, obviously. But there were people playing games and using him to do certain things that were not good. But they used him to do what they wanted. Like you said, Congress and international bankers and things. So we can't just put it all on him. You got to remember the seat that he's in. And it's not justifying because he does have to take responsibility for the negatives. If he has to take responsibility for that, we have to be able to applaud the good at the time. We can't just attack him. Like I told people when they were looking at me when I was in political science class, I wanted to be mayor of Compton. I told the mayor of Compton this. When I won an award by the mayor and city council, I shook his hand. And I told the city council and I told him, I said, I'm going to be the mayor of Compton one day. He looked shocked. I said, no, it's going to happen because I thought the best way to help our people was to go into politics, become the mayor, become a senator, and become president. That's what I thought. I was so wrong. When I learned in my first class of political science, when they explained that politics is not controlled by those who vote, politics is controlled by those who have the money and the power to control. And at that point, that let me know that I will never be able to go and help my people in the way that I want to by going through that system. Obama, just like many others, believe in that system. They believe in it so much they are willing to fight to maintain it, not realizing it was not developed nor created to maintain or sustain the survival of your people. It was maintained to create and sustain someone else's survival. We have to establish our own, and that system will respect us as they see us doing our own damn thing and protecting our own thing. Tulsa was one of the over 60 all-black towns that we had, bro. And the problem is we don't want to do it again because psychologically we fear that the white man's going to blow it up again. Not realizing it's 2023. We can protect what we got.
Pause.
Stop.
That's ridiculous.
Stop.
That's cap.
Okay, look.
Somebody believes him.
Look.
Aries does.
Woo-wee. All right.
There's a lot in there.
I don't even know where to start biting this elephant a piece.
I do.
But I will say this. When you create for other people a reason to be slow, weak, lazy, and you appeal to the lowest of the minds that are willing to be like that, you will become very popular with them. He is saying that we, now mind you, everyone that's black must think like him. Our problem is that we don't want to do it again. No, fool. The reality is there are some doing it within the same system you said won't allow them to do it. You, in the beginning of this video, you talked about the fact that there were rich black people. You will talk and mention it again. There are black people in this so-called white supremacist system that are making ends more than meet. And you know the reason why is because they do not listen to fools like you. They don't want to have the same stupid mindset of white people are the no, they just shake that crap off and they bust their tails and get stuff done.
Yeah.
You don't want black people to do that. You know why? Because you want to be the only suit in the room. You want to be the voice. This is you trying to relive your childhood when you were unaccepted, unloved, put in the foster care and adopted because your mama didn't want you. And then she finally came around. Your daddy didn't want you. Nobody wanted you, bro. You were unwanted. You were a despised child and you were hurt by it. And now you want everybody else to feel the pain you felt when you were an abandoned child. You're not smart. You're a dumb person. You're feeding off of emotions. You're feeding off the exact same thing that you're hoping other people will feed off if you just give them enough fodder to burn themselves up. And it's folks like you that think like you and that push idiotic stupidity stuff like you, that will keep the lower common denominator people from rising to the top. And you know what? The more that will think that are opposite to you, they will never help the black community. Why? Because the black community doesn't want to help because they all think like you.
And that's his target audience. Like you said, the lowest common denominator, right? So if every black person just stopped listening to this fool, obviously he'd be out of a job. You know, there's money in what he does. This is why Al Sharpton has done it for so long. This is why Jesse Jackson has done it for so long. This is why, what's that other Hotep's name that we don't like? Umar Johnson. You know, this is why Umar Johnson does it. There's money in it. See, they sit up here and they talk to black people about we, but they don't put themselves in that. They don't put themselves in that equation. They ain't part of that we, because they're out here asking for donations, making big bucks, living outside of the neighborhoods that they cry so much about. So the we is not them. So they sit up here and they put this junk in the poor black people's brain. Poor black people, not all, some, look up to these so-called intelligent black men that they think are intelligent, and they take whatever they say as truth, and they just keep them in that hole. They don't tell them, you know, hey, you can get up out this neighborhood, you can go and do this, you can do that. They always tell them it's someone else's fault. It's someone else's fault. Even though we had a black president, he was never really in charge. Fool. None of the presidents are in charge. Just know
Not
that.
since Kennedy, man.
Damn right.
So here's my point of view. I'd like to some reality check here. There are in the United States probably hundreds of cities that are completely controlled by all black individuals, right? Chicago being a very prominent example of that. Not the best city to point out, but there are some in the South that are completely, like, especially in Georgia. That place is heavily fortified by black politicians, right? There are complete communities and cities that are controlled by nothing but black people. So I don't think that people are scared to do that because we already do that. They just are in the system, like Marlon said, right? We're already in the system. There are tons of very, very prominent and active individuals who have more money than we will ever make in our entire lifetime. Oprah being the best example of that. If they are so oppressed in this system, how is it that Oprah can be one of the richest people in the United States? And we're talking one of the richest. She's up there in the list of billionaires, right? So why couldn't you make a Black Wall Street? Because it already exists. It's just spread out. It's not concentrated like it was back in the day. Now, if you concentrated all that wealth into one area, then yeah, it would be a Black Wall Street yet again. But it's not going to do that. No. And here's the other thing with what he was saying with keeping people down. Is saying this, it'll never happen again because of X, Y, and Z reasons. Here, what's the difference between the hero and the villain story? Does anybody know what the difference is?
How they react.
The hero eventually turns into the villain.
Exactly. It's how you react to trauma. So everybody is different, and how you react to trauma, regardless of your circumstances, is what determines if you're a villain or a hero. The people that succeed through trauma are the ones that are successful, and they are the heroes. The ones that turn into villains are the ones like him that are saying, you can never make it on your own, period. You are always going to be oppressed by somebody. That is a villainous ideology and behavior. My trauma deserves for everybody else to be unhappy. And so that's what they do. They create more trauma to keep others unhappy and to keep themselves accepting of their situation. And so that's what makes them a villain. A hero uplifts another person out of that trauma themselves and pushes them in the right direction, right? So this is the difference between the ideologies. It's that how you react.
It's when Bain said, "You were merely. I was born in the darkness. You were merely adopted by it.
I was born in it.
I was born in the darkness." Now here's the problem. Bain isn't wrong.
You are molded by your environment. Yeah.
Bain was indeed born in the darkness, but even when he was shown a different way, he didn't want it.
Nope.
He didn't. He could see it. He could see what the opposite would yield. He still chose to follow the path he went because he actually started to like it.
Yep.
And so when we tell people that this is something you can break free of
Mhm.
by looking at others who have done it and broken free and replicating what they did. When we
Right.
mention people like Ben Carson, when we mention people like Larry Elder, and the
Mhm.
myriads of them that have been in the exact same situation and even closer to when the system was more akin to slavery, even more akin. I'm not saying the same, more
Yeah.
akin to it.
Mhm.
They made it out ahead of the curve, and there were multiple people that followed them. Now, the reason I don't think Black Wall Street will ever come back is this: the wise Black people, and I will call them wise, realize you cannot have community anymore because
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
one that's being pushed as the community does not value family.
Yep.
They don't. And so, why would you put yourself into a location where your business depends on generational wealth when they don't care about the generation?
Mhm.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep my wealth independent for me and mine. That
Damn
is
right.
now my community. I'll make my way. I'll get rich. I'll hand it off to my child. I'll teach him to keep it in the family and don't share it.
I
Yeah.
agree.
That's the way it will be for here on out. They don't need the Black community to thrive in a Wall Street type setup because
Yep.
they don't value the same thing. And I
That
think that is
community
one of
doesn't
the
exist
wisest
anymore.
things we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Independently get rich,
That's right.
independently, and make sure you set your kids up for the future.
Yeah.
Forget people telling you, well, share the wealth. That's a communistic idea.
Hmm.
Forget that. Do you take care of yours, and in turn, your family will not only be better citizens because they will know what it means to value family, they will also know what it means to value friends. And they don't need to buy people's friendship by including them in their finances. It's just not smart.
So according
That's a
to that ideology, other minority groups shouldn't succeed as well as they do, whereas
Hmm.
like Asian communities do, because they do still have a very strong emphasis on family
Hmm.
and
that's
familial
right.
ties and the name. The
Indians,
family name
Asian.
is a big thing in Asia. If you bring shame on the name, that's akin to dying in your family, right?
Yep. Mhm.
But here's the thing when it comes to like the Black community, and they're always talking about bring the wealth back, bring the wealth
Mhm.
back. Because deep down, they don't want you to be better than them. They want you to bring the wealth back, share the wealth, so we're all equal. We're all equally poor. So you can go out there and hustle and make all the money, bust your knuckles up, make it, make it, make it. But if you don't bring it back, you're a sellout. So they expect you to make it, bring it back, give it back to the community. Now you're back where you started, and then they're going to be looking at you to go back out and make it. What they're because they're not going to take that wealth that you helped say you did. They're not going to take that wealth and try to build wealth from it.
Mhm.
And this is why Black Wall Street, like Marlon said, will never come back.
Yep.
It's the mindset of what to do with money when you get it, for one, living within your means, for two, having that strong family structure, for three.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of Black people don't live like that, and they have charlatans like this guy. If you just
Mhm.
listen to them, they
Well,
always talk about the past. Historically, this, well, in
I
the
think
past, this, and well, back then, this. They never talk about now. You'll never hear them
Mhm.
say, well, we got people like, Oprah, who made it from this, that, or Larry Elder, or Ben Carson, who made it here and did that. This is what they did to be successful as a Black person during Jim Crow, during all this slavery, at the tail end of
Mhm.
living on sharecroppers and Jim Crow. This is what they did, except they always revert back and talk about the system. Then mentally, that messes with Black people. Well, the white man said because of slavery, we ain't never going to make it. So why would I even try?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Psychological, man.
There's
Stockholm
something
syndrome.
I was just thinking about that I think is coming to a realization. I think white people are going to follow the same path as the Black community. When I think we're already seeing it too, like the degradation of family
Mhm.
and the way that they're acting right now is different, but in the same way, right? So you look at all the victimization that the left purports, right? And they're dragging down that idea of community and family, and the right is the only one trying to keep that together. But it's a losing battle at the moment, if you really think about it. So I think we're going down that same path that's already happening to the Black community. And the only other communities that aren't following suit is the Hispanic, the Asian, the Indian, you know, those ones that are still communal in nature and a very culturally communal people, right? And so Black Americans have lost that. I don't think it's the same way as it is in Africa. Africa is still very culturally centered,
Still
but
family.
here in America, though, completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the term community, man. I am against that so much. I hate the term veteran community. I heard Black. I hate it when people use those terms because it's showing a sign of separatism. It's saying that we're all these different communities, and you know we can't do anything without our community. No, we can. You know, I've known plenty of white people that shared information. I know plenty of Asians, plenty of people that shared information on how to create wealth, how to invest, how to do this, that, and the other. So, you know, you just got to find that person. If you just rely on your community, you're kind of living in a freaking echo chamber and in a bubble. You know, so if Black people can get that out their head, it's like, it's not only in your community, there's money out there. And there's people outside of that, people that look like you, that are able to show you how to make that money. But people like him tell these young Black kids to only depend on Black people or people that look like you. Never go outside of that. And if you do, they're using you. They're going to use you and they're going to take from you. Just like they did the president. The president, they did it to the president, the highest office in the country. And guys like this, man, he's a charlatan, man. He makes money. He's a snake oil salesman.
Well, another thing that I would argue, though, is that in the past, the Black family was actually the pinnacle of what to do in the culture back in like the 20s. This was also during Jim Crow, segregation, post Reconstruction, all that stuff. And yet the Black family was the most thriving sector in American history. It was like literally the culture maker, and to the point where, you know, they were killing in birth rates, and even goes so far as to say in education and work ethic and all that stuff. And yet, once I would venture to say, once they allowed the white liberals to kind of sort of calm them into thinking, hey, no, government's going to take care of you now, and then they kicked out, you know, the Black father. All of a sudden, we now see this, and so from my perspective, in my opinion, if the Black community as a whole can get back to the roots of family and understanding that it's family that creates the society, and it's family that's the backbone of your culture, that's where I think the greatest success can come.
No, I think you're right. And here's the other point I want to make about Black Wall Street is that the reason they were attacked wasn't simply because they were Black. Right. Most people say that they did that because they were Black and they didn't like it. Right. That they had their own thing. No, they did it because they were being successful in a time when people were suffering. Right. So Black Wall Streets at that time when they hit the Depression was doing really well by themselves. They weren't hit by that bubble. And so that's what happened. It came down to jealousy and rage. That's really what caused those instances. It wasn't strictly racism, and had a part of it, but it wasn't the thing that caused it. It was because they were doing well, and they couldn't. When people are jealous, they do stupid things, and what they did is attack them because they were doing too well. That's what it was. And so at a time when racism was at its highest, they were doing better than everybody else.
Go figure.
Go figure.
Of course.
Let him finish his last 20-something seconds there.
All right.
So stop being so damn afraid and just do it, rather than pointing at the few Black people who we don't agree with, or this person, Obama. That I get all that, but if we want to take it serious, if there would be another Black president, okay. If there won't, fine. We have to do our own thing. At the end of the day, we can't keep pointing over there because they're gonna do what they're gonna do. We need to do what we need to do.
Oh, okay, hold on. So
Blackistan.
hang on. Let me get. So he said all of that. He said all of that to say that it doesn't matter. So we could have a Black president or not have a Black president. It doesn't matter because of the premise you put down. Okay. And at the end of the day, we need to do what we need to do, which is separate. But if you are attached at the hip to the system and you said it's inextricable from your plight, how are you going to separate? I'm not saying that you can't, because I'm not bound to any system. But I'm, talking like you. If you're bound to that system, how exactly are you going to break free? And how okay, say it is a white supremacist system, and you get the wise idea. Now, remember, you said it's a white supremacist in slavery. Hear me out. If you say it's a white supremacy system and you want to break free and run to your own facility and be your own people, um, you do understand that a white supremacist system will send the dogs after you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, Riza, but on a true white supremacist system, you couldn't break free anyway. The only
Yeah.
freedom you'd get is death.
They'd burn your town down or put a cross in your yard.
I'm
That's
just
a
saying.
true white supremacist system.
So you can run if you think that's what you need to do, but if you genuinely believe that it's a white supremacist system, I think in essence what you're telling them is we need to throw ourselves overboard so we don't get into the slavery like they used to do in the slave ships, or we need to run across a nice big river and drown, or we need to run so far that we either get shot. So if, again, I'm not the fool that thinks white supremacy is a big deal today. You are.
Yeah.
If that is really your belief, bro, how did you manage to get to where you are?
Right. So it's such a white supremacy system that we have 2 black men and an Indian dude running for president in the GOP. Brilliant.
Well,
Brilliant.
it's such a white supremacist system that the highest median income earners in America are more melanated than these two combined.
Yeah.
Indian Americans.
It's such a white supremacist system that some of the highest paid athletes in the world
Are black.
Are black.
Wow.
Some of the top musicians are black.
Yeah, if it was still a white supremacy system, there wouldn't be black people in the NBA like it used to be. So, like, if we're going to talk about realism here, or the NFL for that matter, right? Because we're still in a white supremacy system,
Or movies.
Yeah,
or movies,
and switching out white characters for black characters. I don't know how to make this make sense, people.
but they have
I don't
to
know
be
how you're going to take the
gender
white
identity
mermaid and make him
anything
black and then
else.
say, "Oh, white supremacy." I don't get that, bro. Come on, man.
They have
make
to
it make
replace only,
sense.
by the way, only gingers, just them.
Come on. Only
Like, and you're right. It makes no sense. If we are living in such a white supremacy system, why would they change the faces of predominantly white
can also
characters
make-
to black characters? Why would they do that if this system is so racist and so white supremacist?
Here's another good one for you. We live in such a white supremacy system that you can make money off of screaming white supremacy.
Hey, look, here's another one.
Right?
We live in such a white supremacist system. There are more white people screaming white supremacy than there are black people.
We live in such a white supremacist system that the people claiming that there's white supremacist system burning black neighborhoods down. It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it.
Ain't that something?
I know, right?
I mean, people that look like me do better than people look like those who are
down?
burning down the black neighborhoods.
Period.
Yeah.
And
You
then
know
they
what I
tell
find-
them because you have insurance.
You know what I
You got
find fun?
insurance, you're fine.
I find it funny, and this was the straw. Spider-Man is now black. That's all I have to say.
Oh, I like Miles.
Miles
I do.
Morales.
I do love Miles Morales as a
good
character,
character.
but I'm saying it made Spider-Man black. The stereotype is black people are afraid of
black,
heights, right?
man. It's different.
Isn't that what they say? The stereotype is black people are afraid of heights.
Yeah, that is
And you
true.
got a Negro swinging through buildings and all. Come on, man. Come on. If that's not
Well, he's
breaking the
Dominican.
ceiling, I don't know what is. Come on, man.
He's
No,
Dominican.
if it's even worse because he's technically in the metal jungle swinging from.
He's
building
his-
to building.
but he's Hispanic.
But he ain't getting
Oh my
shot. But
God.
he ain't getting shot by the cops. He's getting thanked. I don't get that
Yeah.
I
one.
know, right?
He's Dominican. But
He's Afro-Latino.
Yeah.
no, he's Afro. He's mixed.
Afro-Latino,
He
yeah,
is
okay,
mixed.
yeah,
I think his
you're
dad
right.
is black
That's it.
and his
But
mom.
he like Obama.
Yeah.
They should be praising.
Yeah, he's mixed. But see, they couldn't make him a straight up, Tyrone doing it.
Well, they're trying to make him.
We
that
gotta
way
make
for
him
the money.
mix.
That would have been awesome.
He can't be
make,
100%
a Venom
black.
character. That would have been great, dude. Like, I would love to see that. Terry Crews as freaking Venom would have been amazing.
Listen.
That would have been
Listen.
cool.
They
Yeah.
made the Rocky series into a black series. Now, if that ain't defeating
different.
white supremacy, I don't know what is.
Because Creed, okay, like Apollo Creed was awesome. So like he was his own character to begin with in the show.
Yeah,
so.
no, but
But
they
it's
eliminated
boy,
Rocky. They eliminated Rocky. It's not like they eliminated Rocky. It is now Creed.
Yeah, it's Creed.
Because black people protested for the change.
Okay.
What change? What change are we talking about? I don't know.
I got changed. I changed my underwear. I changed my
changed.
socks. I changed my
My
shirt.
life, I've been on this earth for
mine.
40-something years. Ain't nothing changed. My life's been the same.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind Idris Elba as 007. Like, Idris Elba's cool.
He would make a good
Yeah,
Bond.
he would make a good 007.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
No, Will
being
Smith.
all,
Let's
like,
Will
he just
Smith. He
he
knows how
just
to slap people.
extrudes suave. So like, it'd be great as long as
Will
he can have sex
Smith,
with women.
He
But like,
washed up.
they'd probably just make him gay.
Okay,
You gotta
now
worry
Will
about that
Smith.
entanglement.
Yeah,
how
I
about
don't
this
want.
one? We'll make what's his name? His name is on the tip of my tongue.
You're talking about
Black-
Terry Crews? I was just talking about.
No, black comedian.
No.
Kevin Hart.
He voiced the dog on Rio. No, Tracy Morgan as
Oh,
James
Tracy
Bond.
Morgan. Yeah,
Tracy
yeah,
Morgan,
yeah.
James Bond.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan's funny as hell. He didn't get enough love though. In
James
the
Bond. I plead for
That would
Tracy
be a
Morgan's
good
named
one.
James Bond.
What do you mean, partner? Oh, what does it? They call
gonna
me
be arrested now.
007.
You're gonna be arrested now.
Now,
God, he is
now.
such a crazy character. too.
007.
Shaking that stir, homie.
That would be a good one, man. That'd be a good comedy.
You use my
Oh
pinky.
man.
Call him 00
No,
Negro.
No, we should race swap Mr. Bean with Tracy Morgan. That would be
Oh,
hilarious.
that would be good. Actually, that wouldn't be
Oh,
bad.
that would be hilarious.
They ought to.
That wouldn't be bad.
I would watch that.
I'm down for that. I'm
They
down
ought
for that.
to.
I would be down for that one.
Just make it all. Just make everything.
Just
You know,
always
make
want
more.
everybody.
That's why, all these woke movies are failing, because it's not the fact that they have black people in movie. That has nothing to do with it.
Oh, you should see
The fact
reviews
is
on
that
movie.
they're actually changing something that people love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
For
can't
what
do
purpose?
that.
For the purpose. It's for the
Mhm.
purpose of what they're pushing.
Yeah.
It's not even because you're coming up with a different narrative. You're just doing it for the fact that you want it to be that instead
Yeah.
of. It's just dumb.
Yeah,
In any
no one
case,
is gonna
people, we'll be
Well-
live tomorrow on Rumble.
All right.
Remember, tomorrow's our Rumble day, which means there's a whole lot of topics that we have covered that we're going to go more deep into. At least for me, I'm going to go into something super serious. And I think Jay Lee has the vegan thing.
Mm.
Bro has the flatter. What did you pick one yet, Coy?
Yeah, I forgot I was doing that. It was the Tartaria stuff. So I'll have to
Tartaria.
do some research
Tartaria.
tomorrow.
Okay, I'll look
But,
that up and I'll put the poster in.
The Hooch will be on Sunday at 6 Central Standard Time. We are going to cover parts of the whole Barbie reviews. If you haven't seen
I
some
heard
of that
about it.
stuff, dude, it is from the reviews. I haven't seen it yet myself. I probably should, but from what I heard, it is basically the most anti-male, like feminist garbage you could probably think it was going to be to begin with.
I believe
Right?
it.
So they had marketed
Must
this
be
thing
trash.
so suavely that everybody was like, "Oh, it's going to be a fine, family-friendly like Barbie film," and it was just garbage.
It's
As
it's
usual.
probably the minute you said feminist, I thought trash.
Yeah,
Throw it right in the garbage.
basically.
I
So they
kinda
didn't
figured the
tell
Barbie movie
anybody it
would
was
be
going to be like
trash.
a feminist film until like a couple of weeks before airing. So
Okay. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job,
people
Barbie.
thought it was going to be a fun movie, but it wasn't.
Mattel, whatever the hell it falls under.
Yeah. Oh,
But
they also
we'll be
managed
there.
to piss off a bunch of South Asian countries too.
That's the best
Okay.
way to do it. Piss everybody off.
That's okay.
all at once. The best way to do it. We'll be here 6:30 tomorrow on Rumble.
Eastern Standard Time.
We will come live here for like the first few minutes in case you forget, and we'll drop the link for the Rumble channel so you can jump over there. We had a really good crowd last time. The chat room was jumping. Hopefully we'll have it again this time, and hopefully more will come this time, because what I'm going to be talking about and what Lee's going to be talking about and what Bro's going to be talking about, and when we talk about Tartaria, I think it'll end up being a
Crazy
very
stuff.
robust conversation.
Mm.
And I don't have anything else planned that day, so we might be able to go a couple hours with that one. Never know.
Yeah. Have a brain orgasm that day.
So we'll catch up then. Please don't be late, because we'll kick you out of the room. I'm just kidding. We're not gonna kick you out of the room.
Yeah.
And we'll just block you. No, I'm just kidding. We're
Radio
not gonna
wave.
block you. We'll call you out though.
We'll block some people,
Yeah, we'll put your name up and laugh at you for being late.
and we will call you. Marlon will call you out. I'll just
I
sit
will.
back here like ding, 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 and in this corner.
I mean, if you want to have a fun time, pick a fight with Marlon and just yell at you on stream for 2 hours.
I can also fight in real life, so that's the advantage I have. I can say what I say and still back it up. So
I'm a
good.
teddy bear, man. I don't
There you
fight. I'm a
go.
lover, not a fighter.
Liar. Anyway, he's ex-military. There's no way he's just a lover. He's a liar.
I'm a lover, man.
He just got to be pushed the
He's
right
pulling
button. The right button just got to be pushed. Don't let him
Sure.
lie to you. Don't
I
let him
have
lie to
I have a set of skills that I learned over a very long career.
you.
They make me
That's
very
right.
dangerous.
I know how to squeeze a tomato just right.
That's right.
In any case, Lee, please usher us out.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. We'll see you all tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
War.
Peace.
Rated R superstar.